Welcome to episode 18 of the Beef Bar Bruin Banter TV. We're joined by Bruins forward Hudson Morrison. And Hudson, in a season that hasn't really gone as planned here, you've been one of the real bright spots for the team this season, coming in as an 18-year-old and having a great year so far. I just wanted to talk about, why you feel you've had so much success personally so far this year.
I'm just trying my best no matter what happens, if we're losing or winning, and I got two great line mates that do the same thing.
Anything you want to say to the boys that are trying to interview bomb you here?
Get out of here.
Okay, they're getting out of here. How would you describe your game and, what makes everything work so well for you? You've really brought an all-around game to the team this year.
Just a hard-working player that takes the puck to the net when I get an opportunity, and lately the puck's been going in for me, so that's been helping me out and helping the guys out.
You've really found some chemistry this year on that line with Daryl City-Roots and Tyler Preslowski. What do you think makes that line tick? What do you think each guy brings to that unit?
Well, we're all very hard-working players, and we all kind of have our own personality, our own style of hockey. So I think that clicks very good with how hard we work, and we work good together.
As far as the team, like I said, not really going the way everybody had planned this year. But last weekend, 2 games up north, it sounded like you should have won at least one of them, if not for a hot goalie at the other end. But how do you feel about the way the team's been playing lately?
I think we've been playing good. We just had a couple of mistakes here and there, which cost us a goal or two, and that's the difference in between a win and a loss. But if we can fix those up, that's I'm confident with the team we have. So,
all right, thanks.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the Beef Bar Bruin Banter TV. The big news in the SJHL this week is realignment. The league had its annual midseason meetings in Melfort last weekend and decided to go from 2 conferences to 3 divisions for next year. One division will see the Bruins in with Weyburn, Melville, and Yorkton. Another one will be Kindersley, Battlefords, Humboldt, and Notre Dame. And the third one will be Nipawin, Melfort, Flin Flon, and Laurent. I sat down, didn't sit down, but spoke with SJHL President Bill Chow, and here's what he had to say.
What was the reasoning for making a change? Did the league feel there were some fundamental, problems with the old setup, or?
I don't. The governors didn't really see it as being a problem, but wanted to create more of a. We're competitive now, but just another level of competition. When you take a look at how the playoffs will line up and everything else, games in your division, out of your division will mean as much as playing within your division. So I think and then that in itself, would create more interest for the fans as well. I think that's where they were coming from. It wasn't like anything was wrong, but wanting to make things better.
Right. Obviously it's not easy to divvy up the teams given the geography. They don't kind of fit neatly into different areas. But how did you determine who would be in each division?
Basically, it was a proposal. It was a motion brought forward at the table by the governors, and it was voted on in that manner, and it was passed. So that's basically, Notre Dame being in this, some people call it the central whatever, but in that middle division, that one had to be given some thought, and right now they have to go. They go up to play Kindersley. I think it's 3 times, and so now under this format, I think they have to go up one more, and then they have to go to Battleford twice. I believe if that's correct. I could be wrong. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but that's kind of the way. It means a little bit more travel for them, but I think at the end of the day, I think it's probably going to end up to be in that 2,000-3,000 kilometer mile more or dollars more in busing expenses.
Right. Did it seem like overall all the teams were fairly happy with the way it looks now?
No, I think so. I think the biggest thing about it is that everybody realizes that, again, going back to what I said earlier, that games right now you can take your game off against a team outside of your division, And, yeah, it's going to affect your point total, but you just have to be ahead of so many teams within your division, and you'll make the playoffs, correct? So where now, every game, whether you play outside, inside your division, the way the playoffs will be seeded, it's going to mean you have to play hard every night.
With the new playoff format, with it being league-wide, was there a concern about possibly being allowed to travel there?
Yeah, we actually ran the scenarios, and from using last year's points, and there could have been the travel thing, but everybody agreed that it's the playoffs, and that's the price you have to pay for being in the playoffs. Some years it's going to work out that way, and other years it's going to work out where you don't have much travel. So that's just the way you roll the dice.
And obviously that playoff format kind of introduces some excitement too, just in terms of you could have Estevan and Weyburn in the final, or Yorkton and Melville in the final. It's not necessarily one from each division anymore.
No, exactly. And that's kind of the exciting thing too, is that you could end up playing your closest team in the league final, which I think would create a lot of excitement if it was in Estevan Weyburn, or Estevan Yorkton, or anybody from that whole area would create a lot of momentum for both teams.
Welcome back to the Beef Bar Bruin Banter TV. Keith, are you ready? You were just checking yourself out in the mirror there, so just want to make sure you're all set.
Oh, I was just waiting for you to finish checking your cell phone for some new Claude Noel quotes, so I just had to make sure I look good.
Well,
I think I'm ready to go. Are you?
I'm ready. The reason I was interested in Claude Noel is I was going to ask. He's given us some great one-liners and some dry humor. Why can't you ever do that?
Putting me on the spot. Just not smart enough. No. Like we were talking about earlier, I think my approach is a little more direct. I appreciate his humor, and I understand it well, and it'd be nice one day to be able to communicate like that. But at this point, directness is my focus.
Basically, the reason I'm asking is, the media has a tough job, and sometimes we like it when the coach throws us a bone and says something funny, something really quotable, a zinger that we can throw in for the paper.
No, I understand that, and I make it a point to try and be not as vanilla as possible, but as uncontroversial as possible, because we're in a tough situation right now anyway. Throwing stuff out like that might just start a fire, but you never know.
Fair enough. Speaking of Claude Noel, the NHL season is underway, shortened season. What do you think of your Jets so far?
Well, the game last night was pretty good. And I don't know if that's an indicator of the Jets being good or the Capitals being bad, but it's exciting to see the NHL back playing, and it's fun to watch that high-level hockey.
Hoping Andre Pavlik has more nights like last night. I just traded for him in a huge three-way trade in one of my fantasy leagues, and he didn't put up such good stats in his first game, so hoping for more of what we saw against the Caps.
Okay. Three-way trade? You explain the trade.
Okay.
How'd it go?
Okay, if this is where it's going to go.
How did it go?
It was a workplace trade at the Mercury office. That's how we spent our afternoon.
And you got Pavlik for?
Well, he was one very small part of this trade. It was a trade that involved a lot of draft picks going in two directions. Goalies going both ways. I gave up Devin Dubnyk, ended up with Pavlik, and some picks changed hands.
After Dubnyk's performance last night, you probably weren't too worried about that, were you?
Not really. 6 goals in the first period.
I know, but you know what? Their second and third period was real good. I mean, it was 3 goals. I think they skated real well with that team. But that opening frame was a disaster. But you got to expect that with that many young kids. A lot of anticipation. A lot of nerves going on there, so they'll get better.
We'll see. Anyway, moving on from the fantasy hockey stuff, so some pretty big news in the SJHL this week. The league's realigning into 3 divisions, and you guys are going to be with Weyburn, Yorkton, and Melville now. What do you think of this whole development?
Well, going to 3 divisions is obviously a new direction for the SJHL. They're always looking for ways to sort of reduce costs, save some money, and I think, a lessened travel like that, they feel that's going to help out. In terms of the competition, that's a pretty good division to be in. Yorkton and Melville, and generally Weyburn always have very competitive hockey clubs, and I think you're going to see it be one of the stronger divisions of the three. And being a part of it's exciting because it pushes you to be a better team, a better organization. If you want to finish in the top two, which is where you need to be in order to make the playoffs now.
Obviously one of the upsides of this new arrangement for the Kindersley Clippers and for the teams that were in their division before is, obviously just with their geographic location, they were kind of the odd team out in the South Division before, and now, in a much better division for themselves, and obviously you guys don't have to make that trip quite as often anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it'll definitely reignite some of those rivalries. We'll get an extra game or two with Weyburn, I'm sure, and Melville as well. But I mean, for Kindersley, that's got to be great for them. And we'll see how it plays out. I mean, at the end of the day, it's still going to be the best team at the right time that's going to be the most successful, no matter how you break it down. So, whether it's 2 divisions or 3 divisions, you still have to build your team to compete in the playoffs. So.
What do you think of the new playoff format? I mean, top 2 in each division, 4 wild cards, and I mean, you could end up playing Weyburn or Laurens or whoever in the first round.
Well, yeah, and I guess that's the unknown right there. I mean, they want to reduce costs during the regular season, but then you could end up with an Estevan Laurens first round playoff matchup, and something like that would be financially. I guess unfortunate, but those are the things that you got to deal with when you're talking about a 12-team league and a playoff format like that. So, we'll just approach it as it comes, and and hopefully we don't see too many situations like that.
That's gonna do it, and I promise you, this is the only time you're gonna see us talking about my fantasy hockey team on this show.
Is that's a promise? I think we're gonna work it into a few more shows. I'm gonna ask you for your fantasy hockey updates from now on. Will that work?
Is this gonna be a new segment now, or what?
Always looking for a new segment, sure.
He's trying to make me break my promises. That's a grievance, by the way, for next year's Festivus.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, we'll see you next week.